You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. The doctored picture. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. These days, there's much concern about the notion of fake news, fake images, fake videos, pictures that are taken and photoshopped, information that is released which is not accurate, in some instances positively incorrect and misleading, and of course the use of deepfake videos. It becomes more and more difficult for people to know what is that actual truth. Indeed, only yesterday, Elon Musk was discussing with the BBC the difficulties that are faced in trying to weed out such fake news on Twitter. Many people misrepresent the actuality. It's as simple in some instances as people using a filter on photographs that they put on social media, or changing the angle of the camera so that it portrays them in the best light. I'm sure many of you know that a photo that's taken from beneath you is less flattering than one that's taken from above, and therefore that is why you see many people posting selfies on social media where the camera in their phone is being held above them. That is a very simple and straightforward massaging. It's still them, but it's a flattering angle, and therefore there has been some gentle massaging of what's been seen. In other instances, you'll be familiar with where people use filters which cause them to look completely different or significantly different to the way that they actually are. Wrinkles are smoothed out, lips look fuller, complexions look clearer and smoother. In some instances, individuals go so far as to engage in photoshopping, and I'm sure you've seen the notable fails where people have photoshopped themselves to give them a more pinched waist, to give themselves broader shoulders, and they've ended up causing the background to shift also, giving the game away. Or they happen to have their real self captured in a reflection that they have not manipulated. Some of those actions aren't taken by narcissists. Some of those actions are simply taken by people who have a degree of vanity, which is a narcissistic trait, and they want to make themselves look better. But often, these activities are undertaken by narcissists as a manipulation of who they are, which, as you know by now, is undertaken subconsciously in most instances for the pursuit of the prime aims. Furthermore, as I've explained elsewhere, it is often the case that a narcissist, in order to pursue the prime aims, particularly where that narcissist has access to major news networks, power, wealth, and influence, will pump out disinformation. In some instances, this is done knowingly. The narcissist knows it to be false and simply doesn't care. In other instances, it forms part of their truth, the narrative that is created by their narcissism, as it's seen through their particular filter, through their prism. Harry's wife, of course, regularly talks about her truth, the narrative, and we've seen various instances of revisions of history that have taken place time and time again. There is, of course, the suggestion that she's faked her pregnancies, and that she was never actually pregnant, and the children, Archie and Lilibet, were either born of surrogates or are simply children from other people that are brought in intermittently for the purposes of giving the appearance that children exist. That, if correct, is of course a manipulation. There's one instance where it was suggested that a picture that was taken involving Harry's wife, Doria, Archie, the Queen, and Prince Philip was doctored. You'll see the picture now on your screen, and it shows the group gathered around with everybody mainly looking towards Archie. There is a suggestion that this picture was doctored and that it was created using the Queen and Prince Philip from elsewhere. The suggestion is that this photo was actually created with the Queen and Prince Philip being photoshopped in using a picture that was taken at the Windsor Hall Show, the Royal Windsor Horse Show, which is held in the grounds at Windsor Castle every year. And apparently it was taken from a picture which showed the Queen and Prince Philip admiring a new-born foal. The relevant Royal Windsor Horse Show that took place was covered extensively by the Mail Online back in May 2018. The Daily Mail, with a report by Unity Blotter, explained that the Queen was all smiles today as she soaked up the atmosphere at one of her favourite equestrian events of the year in the private grounds of Windsor Castle. The Daily Mail covered the event and provided many pictures of the Queen, who, as you can see on the pictures that are on your screen now, does indeed appear to be wearing the exact same clothing as that seen in the allegedly doctored picture. She can be seen wearing the same earrings, the azure-coloured cardigan, the white blouse underneath. Now, at the original horse show, she was flanked by aides, and the 92-year-old monarch, she was then, could be seen beaming with joy as she watched the action at the Royal Windsor Horse Show in Berkshire, just a stone's throw from where the royal wedding will take place. Back then, of course, Harry and Harry's wife's wedding. Sporting a decidedly off-duty ensemble, the Queen swapped formal attire for a powder blue cardigan, white blouse and tweed skirt, carrying one of her many trusty patent handbags from Lorna. The annual Equestrian Spectacular sees competitors taking part in a range of events, from show jumping to dressage, along with displays from the King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery and Dax Pony Club. Her Majesty was later seen holding a pink rosette after one of her horses finished fifth, but even that did little to dampen her spirits. Despite the bright sunshine, there was a chill in the air, as one of the Queen's aides was forced to help her cover up with a padded gilet as she sat in the shade of her private box. The Queen mingled with fellow spectators at the prestigious show, which has long been an unmissable event in Her Majesty's diary. Now, as you can see the various photographs that the Mail shared, many of which are taken showing the Queen sat in a private box watching proceedings and then close-ups of her, and then showing her later on walking around and chatting with spectators, etc., you'll notice something. First of all, you'll notice that she does indeed appear to be wearing the exact same clothing that appears in the allegedly doctored photograph. But you'll also notice something else. Prince Philip isn't in any of the pictures. He is missing. And the reason for that, as explained by the Daily Mail, was that the Queen was at the horse show without the 96-year-old Duke of Edinburgh, who was recovering from a hip replacement operation. Last year, in 2017, Philip was seen carriage driving with his ponies on the morning the Windsor Horse Show began, but he wasn't at this particular event, which shows the Queen wearing the outfit. So accordingly, that rather calls into doubt that he and the Queen were both looking at a newborn foal at this particular event. First of all, not only does the Daily Mail in its extensive photo coverage not include such a photograph, not even of the Queen on her own looking at a foal, but of course Prince Philip doesn't appear in any of the photographs because he was recovering from a hip replacement. Let us now look at the photograph, which is allegedly the one from which Prince Philip and the Queen were taken before being inserted into the picture with Harry's wife, etc. There it is on your screen, and even a cursory examination of this photograph suggests that it doesn't look legitimate. For instance, where you see the angle of Prince Philip and the Queen's eyes looking, they don't appear to actually be looking at the foal. The relative dimensions to one another don't seem to be appropriate. The lighting seems to be different with regard to how they appear compared to that of the foal. It therefore suggests that, to my mind, the alleged doctored picture doesn't come from a photoshopped picture from the Windsor Hall show, but rather that the picture with the foal has taken the picture of the Queen and Prince Philip and inserted them, and that is the doctored picture. Might it be that the picture with Archie is doctored anyway? Well, it remains a possibility, but so far there's no credible evidence to support that. And instead it would appear that whoever created the picture of the Queen and Prince Philip looking at the foal doctored that photograph in order to suggest that the photograph with Archie was a fake picture. What does all of this mean? Well, the problem with people behaving this way is that whilst there is much about Harry's wife which is false, that she tells lies, and she revises history, when people engage in this kind of behaviour, it enables her to snatch on this evidence along with her supporters to say, look at the nonsense that's made up against me. Her narcissism will seize this as a clear and obvious example of hateful behaviour and lies being told about her. Notwithstanding all of the other evidence that exists, where she's been caught out in lies, there's photographic evidence that contradicts her, there's questionable photographic evidence of what she's doing, for instance, the infamous picture of what looks like the moon bump slipping down to her shins. All of that gets cast to one side by her narcissism, and instead it focuses on events such as these to suggest, look, that picture's clearly photoshopped. The Queen wasn't with Prince Philip at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, therefore there can't be a picture of them looking at a foal, it never existed, therefore that's the doctored picture, and that has been created in order to suggest that the picture with Archie was false. How dare you, how very dare you, make such a suggestion? It allows her to seek sympathy from those who are neutral about the situation. It allows her to seek further support from her supporters in the Sussex squad, the Suggars, by saying, look, here's another example of someone hating on her by making up a photograph. It causes her to believe that there is this mass of doctored material out there, that people keep telling lies about her, and reinforces the fact that she is the victim in all of this. Unfortunately, in some people's desperation to smear her by trying to demonstrate that she continues to lie, rather than using the actual lies that are out there, of which there are numerous, they create fabricated material for the purposes of trying to make her look even worse. But unfortunately, while some people believe that material, from the point of view of Harry's wife, should she be aware of it, it simply reinforces her position, that she is the victim in all of this, that she is the one that's being hated on, and that people engage in such scurrilous behaviour, and it's completely unfair. And she will make use of this in order to draw sympathy from people for the purposes of asserting control and drawing fuel. I'm H.T. Tudor. Thank you for listening.